Americans are effed unless they rewire the foundation. My name is Coach JV. What I work to do is to break down macro and microeconomic strategies and make them very simple for the normal everyday person can implement them. So what I want to do is I want to help over 1 million people in the next 12 months into 2025. Since 2020, we've helped 7,000 people do exactly what I'm going to talk about today. I feel like I have to burp. Hold on a second. Okay, cool. There we go. So I have two amazing resources for you. Number one resource is our free one-on-one with my licensed wealth protection team. Many people ask us, how do you insure your wealth, JB? What are you talking about? Well, we teach you tax code 7702. People talk about infinity banking concept. What the most important thing is how they properly structure the policies. Many of these are not properly structured. It's about your living benefit, not maximizing the death benefit, the opposite of what you've been taught. So in the description of this video, you can set up a free consultation with my licensed team, or in the description of this YouTube channel or wherever you're at or social media platform. Number two is a free guide, absolutely free guide, a 16-page guide on the 5 pillars of wealth that we've been talking about this week. So it's a little bit different content this week. So right now, as we sit, I'm deep in a spiritual journey out in Peru. And let's do a quick recap of what we went through. So last Friday on November 3rd, I shared with you my personal story. So if you kind of want to take a journey back, if you're just watching this today, new to the channel, I highly recommend you go about 4 videos back to Friday last week, November 3rd. I talked about my deep personal story so that you could see maybe yourself in the story. Monday, I talked about what made me rich, my crypto game plan, okay, different than wealth. Tuesday, we talked about how I became wealthy, my business plan. Then I talked about how I lost it all. And then I learned how to insure my wealth. I'm looking at my notes here. And then yesterday, I talked about the secrets of the wealthy, which is pre-IPO. And today I'm going to wrap it all up. So let's take a journey back 4 years ago. If you listen to the personal story, when I first started this journey, guys, I was indoctrinated deep into the system where 99% of American and people all over the globe are. Okay. It's important to understand what wealth is. If you make $500,000 a year in America, you're in the top 1%. If you make $30,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of the population. So if you compare it to the population and you make $30,000 a year, you're in the top 1%. If you're in the top 1% in America, 500,000 per year in earned income. To be in the top 1% for net worth, it's 11. There's that burp. 11 points. Sorry, I just ate a large salad. 11.5 million in net worth is top 1% in net worth, right? So there's a difference. This is important. There's a difference between earning and net worth, right? People say, well, I make this much. For example, my ecosystem makes millions of dollars, right? My businesses make millions of dollars. Doesn't mean that when somebody says my business does this, I have $600,000 in payroll for one of my companies. So I'm going to break down my current paradigm that I'm at right now at a very honest state. And as I go through my channel next couple of years, I'm going to take you through my journey so I can look back and my grandkids look back at this and see where I was. So in 2019 going to 2020, I'd lost everything. I held on to my crypto portfolio. I wasn't touching it. I held on like a tick on a dog. I moved back in with my parents. They shut my business down with COVID and I lost everything. So I had to ask myself, where is this coming from? So I was deeply indoctrinated into a system to go to school, get a job, and trade time for money. So in the current paradigm, before they shut us down, I was in the business trading time for money. I wasn't running the business. I owned a business, but I was trading time for money. That might resonate with a lot of you guys. And until I rewired my brain to understand how to take money to free up time and start to scale and help other people become successful, that's when the paradigm shifts. So number one is I had to learn how the wealthy operate. There's no wealth in my family, so I had to dive into how the wealthy operate and look at mentorships. So number one, I brought on Alex Hermosi. Well, I hired his team for gym launch, and that's how I launched a 6-figure gym. But the concepts that Alex Hermosi embodies inside even his gym launch program, which I don't know, I think he sold that program, but now he just does acquisition.com, $100 million leads, genius in business. So I took his concepts and I applied it to all of my business lines. And I went from running in the business to running the businesses. So I no longer trade time for money. I have other people that trade time for money. I put them in positions that they love based on their skill set, and they help us run and scale the companies, and we're able to provide employment. Okay, so that was a big shift for me. Number two is you see that I went completely diversified. I rewired everything. I understood how money moved through the system and emotional cycles. So I studied Ray Dalio's Changing World Order and the Big Debt Crisis, which is right over there. And I started to understand history 500 years back. And I'm not going to go into the spiritual side of it, but I went really deep into the spiritual side of it and understanding biblical patterns, historical patterns, financial, economic patterns, and patterns within countries and geopolitical. Okay. So from there, I understood that there's cycles. There's cycles to this game, guys. There's things like the Shemitah, right? Right now, as you listen to this, we're on the back end of a year after the Shemitah. There should be some market collapse happening. We're going into World War III, should create a market pullback and some wartime economics, right? So in cryptocurrency, I started doing the opposite just based on logic, right? So I started doing the opposite of everybody. When everybody was selling, I was buying. When they're panicking, I was buying. When everybody is getting all excited, I'm telling you, cryptocurrency is the best thing ever, I'm selling. Pretty simple, nothing too complex. And then it started to get into more complex things like understanding insurance. Okay. So in business, excuse me, I shared with you guys. So I rewired my brain. So I got mentorships to move to the next level. Mentorships shorten timeline to success. In cryptocurrency, I understood how the money flowed through the system and why the 1% of the population owns 97% of the wealth. And it will always be that way until you rewire the brain. So as we look at insurance, then I got introduced to insurance in 2020, tax code 7702. And I'm like, holy shit, people insure their wealth. I'm like, I learned how to insure my life. I've had a term policy forever. And I couldn't even conceptually understand it until I started to dive deep into it. I'm like, holy shit, this is a tax code. The 401k is a tax code. 401k creator is quoted saying in 1978 that he created a product, I'm paraphrasing, that made the Wall Street wealthier. The guy that created the 401k. The reason why they created the 401k was to pass the cost on to you, okay, the risk onto you, and it saves them a ton of money. So they got double dipped. They pass the risk onto you and they save a ton of money by doing a 401k. And hey, it's on you. And they tax you on the back end. Think about that. Okay. Tax code 7702. When I dove into the tax code, I don't care what anybody says about IUL. It's one of the greatest products I've ever experienced personally. It guarantees my principal, which is absolutely amazing. So now I have safety and security. I can get market-like returns, very, very, very conservative, about 7%. You can get much larger, but conservatively 7%. And when the market comes collapsing down, your 401k goes all the way to the bottom, but my principal stays the same because it's indexed. It's not attached to the market. And I can actually get liquidity from my policy. I was like, wow, it took me a while to conceptually understand that. But wealthy operate different than the 99% or the 97, excuse me. Yes, the wealthy operate, the 1% operate very different than the 99% of the population. Then we talked about pre-IPOs, and I started to get into pre-IPOs. So once I became an accredited investor, I started to dabble into pre-IPOs and getting in well before other people are. So we're heavily vested in Ripple. So when Ripple IPOs, obviously we'll meet with our 506B, what we're in and what we created, and we'll share with people what do we want to do. Next, we're going to be going into real estate. So I didn't talk about real estate this week because I'm not an expert in that, okay? What I'm going to talk to you about on Monday is the next phase, which will not be that exciting because I'm only going to speak for my current paradigm. My next phase is really exciting. So I'm actually in the process of getting the trust set up. So that's going to be the next phase. So the reason why I'm telling you the guys is from an honest perspective. So let's share with where I'm at in the current paradigm because I want to go back and visit these videos. So in 2020, I had lost everything back on my parents' couch. I had a decent crypto portfolio. If you followed my journey, I started flipping couches, followed the Gary Vee strategy, started making money out of nothing. And I built a 5-figure portfolio and then a 6-figure portfolio. And then, we boomed and then everything came collapsing down in 2022. But throughout that process, I built multiple companies. I built an education company. We built Merlin. I have a beard company. I have all kinds of different things that I've created. Okay. So currently I went from completely broke on my parents' couch to living in what I call my dream home. It's a simple 1,800 square foot family home, but it's a dream home for me. It's a safe, beautiful place for me and my kids. Okay. I have a beautiful home. I have beautiful relationships. I have beautiful partnerships. And I went from completely broke to, I predicted this year, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit it. So last year I ended it with $318,000, around $318,000 in earned income. And my goal was to get to top 1% in earned income in 2023. And I'm going to get really close. So I hope to get to 500,000. And then next year in personal income, I will hit $1 million in personal income. So I went from on my parents' couch, completely broke, to 2024, I'll be hitting $1 million in personal income. And along that, I have amazing crypto strategy. business strategy, right? I have building legacy wealth now. And eventually I'll have freedom for the rest of my life, and my kids' will. So the reason why I'm honest and open with you guys, I'm not going to bullshit you. I'll only speak from my current paradigm, is it's possible for you guys. If you go back to the story, I'm not going to recap it, but guys, I've been through the ringer, man, like you guys have too. All of our stories are beautifully unique. But the difference is what I did is I drew, and I'm not saying I'm different than you. The difference of what I did is I drew a line in the sand. I became more committed to the pain of change and staying the same. I rewired the foundation, ended up in a different situation, and I radically transformed my family's life. You can do the same thing, guys. Remember, the presence is magnetism. The future is used for anxiety. The past is used for depression, as my coach Matt says. The past is used for depression. The future is used for anxiety. The present moment right now is magnetism. By operating in full authenticity with you guys, gratitude for being here and being here with you guys, and love for myself and where I'm at within this current paradigm allows me to operate in the highest level frequency. And I hope to bring you with me. That's my main goal. My main goal. Yes, I have ecosystems that cost money. My Warrior Academy. I have tons of different companies that are pay to play, right? But I also have tons of free resources, the free one-on-one. You have the free guide. We're coming out with a bunch of free products for you guys because I heard you. You guys want help, and I'm here to help as many people as possible. So we're developing, when I come back from Peru, we're going to develop a bunch of free products to give people to know, like, and trust. And you could take the free products, the thousands of YouTube content, and apply your own strategy. Okay. But I love you guys very, very much. I hope that you can see my intentions, and from my family's heart to yours, just to help as many people as possible to experience the peace and freedom that I'm experiencing with my family. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. On Monday's video, it's going to be pretty short, but pretty exciting. Actually, it's kind of emotional because I was on my parents' couch 4 years ago, and now I'm going to tell you guys I'm in the process of building a legacy trust account, and it's going to be a real short video because I'm not educated fully on it. I'm going through the process. I'm sharing with you guys. I'm a licensed agent now. I have a licensed agents in all 50 states, one of the fastest growing teams right now in insurance. And we are now heading into the trust game. And so once we get set up, we speak from our current paradigm, we'll be able to help you with that as well. Because the key is to insure your wealth and then insure yourself, right? So eventually I'll have my insurance policies inside of the trust. I will no longer be part of that stuff. I'll be a trustee. And let me just not speak. I'll speak about it on Monday, and I'll speak from the paradigm that I'm currently at, and I'll share with you where I'm going, and I'll take you on the journey. I love you guys. I appreciate you. As we always say, warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go.